My beloved child, pause for a moment and feel the shift in the air around you, because something that has been hidden in silence is now moving toward the light. You have sensed it for a long time, that uneasy feeling that someone crossed a line, that something precious was taken from you, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And now, the truth is beginning to surface in a way you never expected. There is a quiet unfolding happening behind the scenes. Conversations you are not part of. Realizations dawning in places you cannot see. Decisions forming that will soon ripple into your world. The person who thought they could walk away untouched, who believed their actions would dissolve into the background of time, is beginning to understand that nothing truly disappears. Energy returns. Accountability arrives. Balance restores itself in its own mysterious way. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you in this revelation. You were never foolish. You were never blind. You simply trusted. And trust is not weakness. Trust is strength offered openly. The one who mishandled that gift underestimated something powerful, not you alone, but the natural order that protects what is sincere. They thought taking your opportunity, your recognition, your idea, your love, or your peace would elevate them. For a brief moment, it may have seemed that way. But what is gained without integrity never settles comfortably. And here is the surprising truth: the arrest that is approaching is not only legal or external. It is internal. It is the moment when their own choices corner them. When explanations run out. When the weight of pretense becomes too heavy to carry. Don't skip this part, because this is where the shift begins to favor you in ways you cannot yet imagine. You see, when something is taken from you unjustly, it creates an invisible echo. That echo travels. It reaches places of influence. It awakens awareness. It invites correction. You may not witness every step, but movement is happening. Someone has noticed inconsistencies. Someone has asked questions. Someone has connected dots that were meant to stay scattered. And what makes this once-in-a-lifetime moment so powerful is this: you did not have to fight loudly to trigger it. Your patience did. Your quiet resilience did. Your refusal to become bitter did. While they were busy building on unstable ground, you were building character. And character outlasts shortcuts every time. Something huge is waiting for you, not revenge, not chaos, but restoration. Imagine the expression when they realize the walls are closing in, not with aggression, but with truth. Imagine the stillness when they understand that what they took is now the very evidence that exposes them. This is not about humiliation. It is about alignment. It is about the universe correcting a distortion. Stay with me, because the next part will reveal why this moment is not just about them, it is about the door that is about to open for you. For every opportunity diverted from you, another was quietly being prepared. For every door that seemed to close unfairly, a stronger entrance was being constructed elsewhere. What you thought was loss was often protection. What you thought was delay was often redirection. And now, as the consequences of their actions approach, your path is clearing in ways that will feel almost surreal. Do you feel that subtle shift in your spirit? That calm confidence rising? That is not imagination. That is alignment returning. The person who took from you is about to face a moment of reckoning. Not dramatic. Not destructive. But undeniable. Questions will be asked. Records will be reviewed. Truth will be examined. And in that examination, what was hidden will surface naturally. Don't skip, because what happens next changes how you see your entire story. This was never just about what was taken. It was about who you were becoming in the process. Strength without hardness. Wisdom without cynicism. Faith in fairness without forcing outcomes. That combination is rare. And rare things are protected in ways that ordinary eyes cannot detect. Very soon, you will hear something. A whisper of news. A subtle confirmation. A surprising update. It may arrive casually, almost quietly, but it will carry weight. When it does, you will remember this moment. You will remember that nothing escaped awareness. You will remember that your integrity was never wasted. Because this unfolding event is not only about their arrest from wrongdoing, it is about your release into something greater. And in the next part, you will discover why the timing of this exposure is perfectly aligned with a breakthrough that has your name written all over it. Stay close. Something extraordinary is about to connect. A silent shift has already begun, and you can almost feel it in the atmosphere around your life, as if unseen pages are turning in a story you thought had stalled. The person who believed they could quietly take what belonged to you is now standing at the edge of a realization they never prepared for. This is not sudden. This is not random. It is the slow, precise unfolding of consequences meeting consciousness. For a long time, you questioned yourself. You replayed conversations. You wondered if you misunderstood. You tried to give the benefit of the doubt. That alone speaks volumes about your character. You were not looking for conflict. You were looking for clarity. And while you were searching for understanding, they were hoping time would bury the evidence of what they did. But time does not bury truth. It preserves it until the right moment. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you in this part of the journey. There are discussions happening now that you are unaware of. Not dramatic scenes, not chaos, but serious evaluation. Patterns are being noticed. Inconsistencies are surfacing. What once seemed clever now appears careless. The very details they overlooked are the details drawing attention. And what makes this extraordinary is that you did not need to force this revelation. It is unfolding organically, almost as if the universe itself insists on balance. Don't skip this, because the most powerful part is not their exposure, it is your elevation. While they were focused on maintaining an illusion, you were refining your strength. While they were guarding a narrative, you were growing in silence. That growth has changed you. You may not even fully see it yet, but others do. There is a steadiness in you now. A depth. A maturity born from disappointment that did not harden your heart but sharpened your awareness. The person who took your opportunity, your idea, your recognition, or your peace believed they were advancing. But advancement built on unstable ground creates constant anxiety. They have been looking over their shoulder, even if they never admitted it. There is an internal pressure building within them, the awareness that what was gained unfairly does not feel secure. That pressure is part of the arrest approaching. It is the moment when escape routes disappear. And here is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation you did not expect: the very act of taking from you has positioned you for something larger than what was lost. If they had not interfered, you might have remained in a space too small for your potential. If they had not created disruption, you might not have discovered your resilience. What felt like theft was also redirection. What felt like injustice was also preparation. Stay with this thought carefully. Because as their situation tightens, your path widens. There is someone observing the situation who values integrity deeply. Someone who may not have spoken yet but is forming conclusions. When truth becomes undeniable, alignment shifts quickly. Doors that seemed sealed begin to open without resistance. Conversations that once felt tense become respectful. Invitations that never came before begin to appear. Don't skip, because the connection is powerful. Their accountability clears the way for your recognition. You are not being lifted because they fall. You are being lifted because you remained grounded. That distinction matters. You did not wish harm. You did not scheme. You waited. You endured. You continued forward even when your heart felt heavy. That energy builds momentum in unseen ways. Picture this carefully. Imagine receiving news that the situation has turned. Imagine hearing that questions have been asked directly. Imagine the subtle shock on their face when they realize the narrative they constructed can no longer hold. It will not be loud. It will not be chaotic. It will be calm, firm, and irreversible. And when that moment arrives, something inside you will settle. You will understand that you were never invisible. You were never forgotten. The delay was not denial. It was timing. Something huge is waiting for you beyond this correction. Because once their position weakens, space opens. And that space is not empty, it is prepared. Prepared for your return, your recognition, your advancement, your peace. The same environment that once felt uncomfortable will feel different. The energy will shift. People will speak differently around you. Respect will replace doubt. This is the part no one talks about. Restoration is often quiet. It does not always arrive with applause. Sometimes it arrives with a simple acknowledgement that changes everything. A nod. A correction. A decision reversed. A role reconsidered. A truth confirmed. Stay till the end, because the deeper revelation is still unfolding. The arrest approaching them is symbolic of confinement by their own actions. When someone acts without integrity, they create a web around themselves. At first, it feels manageable. Then it tightens. Then it restricts options. Now, they are realizing how limited their choices have become. What they once dismissed is now undeniable. Meanwhile, you are stepping into clarity. There is a version of you emerging who no longer doubts their worth. A version who understands that even when something is taken, value remains intact. You are not defined by what was removed from your life. You are defined by how you responded. And your response was powerful. You chose growth over revenge. You chose patience over panic. You chose silence over chaos. That choice has amplified your presence in ways you cannot yet measure. Don't skip this moment, because this is where the energy truly turns. The same courage that carried you through uncertainty is now attracting alignment. The same integrity that felt unnoticed is now being evaluated by the right eyes. And as the person who wronged you faces increasing scrutiny, your name is being spoken with a different tone, one of trust. The next phase will feel almost surreal. You may wonder if events are moving too smoothly. Opportunities may appear unexpectedly. Support may come from surprising sources. And you will remember this period of waiting as the foundation for everything that follows. Here is the emotional truth: sometimes the greatest gift is not the immediate return of what was taken, but the upgrade that follows its loss. You are not going back to the same position. You are moving into a stronger one. The person who underestimated you is beginning to understand the magnitude of that mistake. Not because you demanded recognition, but because your consistency made it undeniable. The story they attempted to write about you is being rewritten by reality itself. Stay close, because something extraordinary is aligning. In the coming days or weeks, subtle confirmations will appear. Small signals that the tide has turned. You may notice shifts in behavior. You may hear rumors of internal reviews. You may sense a change in atmosphere that feels lighter, clearer, more honest. When you feel it, trust it. Because the arrest approaching them is not about punishment, it is about restoration of order. And when order is restored, rightful positioning follows naturally. This is your moment to stand steady, not smug. Confident, not careless. Observant, not reactive. Let events unfold without interference. Let truth speak without embellishment. Let balance restore itself without force. Something huge is waiting for you beyond this turning point, not merely justice, but expansion. Expansion of influence. Expansion of clarity. Expansion of opportunity. Expansion of peace. You endured a season that tested your self-worth. Now you are entering a season that confirms it. And in the next part, you will see how the exposure of what was taken becomes the very catalyst that launches you into a chapter greater than you ever imagined. Stay with this unfolding. The story is not only correcting itself, it is elevating you beyond the limits you once accepted. Something irreversible is now in motion, and even if you cannot see it clearly yet, you can sense the shift in the atmosphere around your life. The tension that once felt heavy is slowly transforming into anticipation. The uncertainty that once clouded your thoughts is beginning to clear. This is the moment where hidden currents rise to the surface. Stay till the end, because what unfolds in this part will change the way you interpret everything that happened. The person who took from you is no longer operating in comfort. The illusion of safety they built around their actions is thinning. Questions that were once distant are now direct. Observations that were once private are becoming shared. The confidence they projected is being replaced by calculation. They are realizing that every choice leaves a trace. But here is the deeper revelation: this is not just about them being confronted. It is about you being confirmed. For months, maybe even longer, you carried an invisible weight. You smiled when necessary. You continued your responsibilities. You tried to convince yourself that you could move on without acknowledgement. Yet somewhere within you, there was a quiet ache, not because something was taken, but because it felt unfair. That feeling was valid. Don't skip this part, because understanding this truth sets you free. When someone removes something from your life without integrity, whether it was an idea, an opportunity, a position, trust, or recognition, it creates a fracture in your sense of balance. You may not speak about it openly, but you feel it. The mind questions. The heart replays. The spirit searches for resolution. Now resolution is approaching. And what makes this extraordinary is that it is happening without you forcing it. You did not have to expose them publicly. You did not have to argue endlessly. You did not have to sacrifice your dignity to be heard. The environment itself is correcting the distortion. Imagine the moment when they are asked to explain details they assumed no one would examine closely. Imagine the pause when they realize that the story they rehearsed does not align with facts. Imagine the quiet realization that what they took is now the very thread unraveling their credibility. This is not chaos. This is clarity. Something huge is waiting for you on the other side of this clarity. Because once the spotlight shifts, perceptions change rapidly. The same people who were uncertain about you begin to reevaluate. The same space that felt closed begins to reopen. The same voice that felt unheard becomes respected. But here is the part that makes this once in a lifetime. Your growth during the waiting season has prepared you for more than just restoration. It has prepared you for elevation. If everything had remained smooth, you might have remained comfortable. If nothing had been taken, you might not have discovered your deeper capacity. But the discomfort stretched you. It forced you to adapt. It taught you to rely on your own steadiness instead of external validation. And now, as their position weakens, your foundation strengthens. Stay close, because this connection matters. The arrest, approaching them, is not simply about external accountability. It is about internal confrontation. They must face the mirror of their own decisions. They must reconcile the gap between appearance and reality. And that reconciliation is uncomfortable. Meanwhile, you are experiencing a different kind of awakening, the realization that your value was never dependent on what they held. Don't skip, because this is where your power becomes undeniable. There is a shift in energy around you. People are noticing your composure. They are sensing your quiet confidence. They are observing how you handled adversity without bitterness. That observation builds trust. Trust builds opportunity. Opportunity builds momentum. And momentum is building now. You may soon receive a subtle signal, a conversation hinting at reconsideration, a message suggesting review, an invitation that feels unexpected. When it arrives, remember this moment. Remember that nothing unfolded randomly. It was a sequence. Sequence of action. Sequence of consequence. Sequence of correction. The person who took from you may feel cornered, but you will feel released. Released from doubt. Released from confusion. Released from wondering whether truth matters. It does. And the evidence of that truth is surfacing. Something extraordinary is aligning behind the scenes. The same system that once seemed silent is now attentive. The same individuals who once hesitated are now attentive to detail. Patterns are clearer. Comparisons are sharper. The contrast between your integrity and their shortcuts is becoming undeniable. Stay till the end, because the final layer of this part is crucial. You are not meant to return to who you were before this happened. You are meant to step forward as someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone more aware of the value they carry. What was taken from you cannot define you. It only revealed you. And here is the profound twist: the person who thought they were advancing by diminishing you has unintentionally highlighted your strength. By attempting to overshadow you, they illuminated your consistency. By trying to silence you, they amplified your presence. When accountability arrives, it will feel less like drama and more like inevitability. You will sense it in subtle shifts. Conversations becoming transparent. Processes becoming structured. Decisions becoming fairer. The air around you will feel lighter. And in that lightness, your next opportunity will appear. Something huge is waiting for you, not because someone else is falling, but because you are rising. The correction of their actions creates a vacuum. And that vacuum invites rightful positioning. You may find yourself offered a chance you did not anticipate. You may be asked to step into responsibility again. You may be recognized publicly or privately in ways that restore your confidence completely. When that happens, remain steady. Because this is not just vindication, it is transformation. You are entering a phase where your discernment is sharper. You will recognize subtle red flags more quickly. You will trust your intuition more confidently. You will value environments that reflect your integrity. And the most beautiful part of this unfolding is this: you no longer need validation from the person who wronged you. Their realization is separate from your progress. Their accountability is independent of your expansion. Stay close, because the next chapter deepens this shift. The narrative is turning. The energy is balancing. The story is correcting itself. And as the person who took from you faces the tightening circle of their own decisions, you are stepping into a widening horizon of possibility. The next part will reveal how this exposure becomes the catalyst for a breakthrough that reshapes your path entirely. Hold your focus. The unfolding is far from over, and what is about to connect will feel almost destined.